this is Sarah, the Stitchin Mommy, and it's Monday, September 16th, and I'm back for a stitching update. I was not able to film last week because I was on vacation. My husband and I went away for an anniversary trip that kind of spanned the time I would normally film, so last video I kind of went over what I would be working on for this next 2 weeks. It feels like 2 weeks is a really long time to go between videos for me. I look back at on my Stitchy calendar and be like, what haven't I showed yet? And I'm like, wow, there's a lot of things that I haven't showed yet because it goes back so far. So let's get you caught up. First of all, I had a few more Stitchy fun kindnesses for my birthday. My husband did very well with his choices. He was had a wide variety of things. I got a book, a puzzle, some music, and maybe it was just those 4 things, and some cross stitch. So this is the cross stitch he gave me. Was this kit by Gold Collection Petites Dimensions. This is the one, what's it called? A Kiss for Snowman. Dina, the half stitch cross stitch, finished this recently, and I think Melly Ellie stitches. She's working on it right now. It's adorable. And it probably was just Dina's fast stitching that made it feel like it would go really fast, but it reminds me of my daughter, of course, and she loves snow and snowmen and everything, so I thought, you know what, I need that in my life. So it's a kit, 18 count Ida and all the threads, so that'll be fun. I don't know when I'll start it because, as you know, I'm not starting anything in 2019, still going strong with that. I am a little overwhelmed with how many things I would like to start in 2020 because I don't really know when I would want to start all of them. And I still have a whole bunch of goals with the things I'm currently having in current whips. So we'll see. I will allow myself to start things in the future, but I will have my rule now, self-imposed rule of 2 finishes equals a start. So I'll hopefully rein myself in a little bit with that, because I do like to start things. And page finishes on full coverage pieces count as a start. Count as a finish for me. Since I have so many full coverage pieces that will never get finished in my lifetime, I might as well get a little bit of, bonus out of progressing on those. Anyways, I also got a couple things from Stitchy Friends. So the first one was from Anne. Anne P. This is a cute little card that she gave me. Super fun. And she got me some gorgeous color and cotton fabric. This is 32 count Lugana, and it's in Wedgwood, which is a really pretty dusty blue, which is like me all over. It's looking a little pinker to you, but it's very nice. And this is pretty true. Thank you, Anne. I love this color, and I know I will find something to use it for because I love stitching on blue and green. It seems are my favorite stitching fabrics for a lot of things. So a fancy lady might go on here, or maybe a variety of things that are smaller. I hesitate because I think there might be a pattern that's smaller than like a Mira that could work on this, but I hesitate to cut it up. It's like, oh, it's a nice, it's a 1/4 yard, it's a decent sized piece, so it could be a bigger, pattern, but I don't know, because it might work for a couple smaller things. So we'll have to wait and see what I do with that. And she also found me some more Redfish Dye Works floss, which are silk, and they sell these at like the fiber fair shows that she goes to a lot with her yarn, Woolly Wonka fibers. And I bought, I think, 3 packs of these when I was there in Pasadena when she was close to me, and I went and met up with her, and that was really fun. This is a pack I had not received before. A couple of these are pretty variegated, so those are really fun. They can add to my collection. Because in 2020, I do hope to start a few things that I can pick my own colors from my growing stash of hand-dyeds. So these are fun. I don't, yeah, well, here's their info. They have a website, so you might be able to find them on the website. They sell yarn as well, but there's the silk thread that you can stitch with. So that's fun. So thank you, Anne. Happy birthday to me. And I also got a pretty card from Colette, the Highway Stitcher, and I have met her in person as well. I met her at the Southern California retreat last year, and again, I don't remember what month, but she came back again and met up with us in Brea, and that was fun. So I've seen her twice in person, which is always fun to meet Stitchers. Oh, bless you, Kitty. It's always fun to meet Stitchers in person that you've met online, so it's really fun. And she got me a needle minder, which is on one of my projects already, so I'll show that in a little bit. So thank you, Colette. That was really nice. She wrote in her comment, I think it was either in the card or somewhere else, but she wasn't sure if I liked needle minders since I stitch in hand, but I do. Ever since Shelly, Key X Stitch, gave me one. Do I have that one over here? Or am I using it? This one. This was my first needle minder. I have the Frosted Pumpkin. This went with the National Park style that I was doing. And Cinnamon is being very helpful. And ever since I tried it, I was hesitant to try it because I knew I didn't want it to weigh down my fabric. But when I tried that one, it's very lightweight. It was a lightweight wood. I found I really liked it. As long as I hold my fabric in a roll, and so as long as it's up kind of behind my hand, it doesn't bother my stitching. So it's actually really nice. As soon as I tried it and can like just set my needle on it and not worry about it, it shaves, seconds off of stitching life, but every second counts. So I do really like them as long as they're lightweight. So some of those ones I've seen that are like the clay polymer super thick ones, I would imagine might be too heavy for me. But the one Colette found was nice and lightweight, so it's perfect. And a lot of the other ones that I've been gathering over here, because I keep finishing my projects this year, are lightweight also, so I'm happy with needle minders. So let's get into what I've been working on. The first thing I worked on was 4 days on Anne of Green Gables, and I don't remember if I worked all 4 of those days. I may not have. I may have worked 3 of them, or parts of, I don't know. It's been too long, like I said. But I did work on it. I had some issues at one point. Let me see what I can put this up against. I didn't think about that ahead of time. Here's my Anne of Green Gables picture. I should show you this first. I'm doing a cropped version of Quick Stitch Anne of Green Gables by Amy Stewart. It's a Heaven and Earth Designs, and I'm cropping it to just be Anna and Gilbert. And I'm doing it on silk gauze, 40 count silk gauze, 1/1. So, what should I put it up against? Because white doesn't really work, so let me find something colorful. Maybe this fabric. That's close by. That's all right. So this is what it looked like last time. And here's where I got to. Excuse me, Kitty. She doesn't like it when I move around. She would want to just sit on my lap. So, I don't think I got as much done as I was hoping I would, but I did work on their skin some more and this light color that was kind of throughout, the offsetting some of the white. I wanted to work on, I did some dark brown too, I think, because I wanted to get her features in because she was looking really strange. So she's got the start of some eyes. The first color I worked on after I filmed was in the skin, and it was a darker shade of the skin, and it looked horrible. It was bright coral, like really, really bright, hot pink corally color, and that just was not working for me. And it was in here where all these slightly darker colors are, and it was slashing through their face in just this weird, awkward way, really bright and really obnoxious. And I looked on the Haid website. I might find a picture to post for you, and it looks like that on the website, where it's pixelated with this really bright coral color, and I just decided no. And I was tempted to just scrap this piece altogether, not work on it again, ever, because that just doesn't look good to me. And so, but then I thought, you know what? I'll just pick a different color and try it. And so I picked a different color that was still dark to shade properly. So I pulled out the color of this main skin color I had used, and the color that they told me to use for that symbol, and I picked one kind of in the middle. And so now I think it's shaded a lot better. So this darker shade kind of through the edges of the front of his face and through here is a different color that I picked. So if you're working on this, let me know and I'll share that with you. I didn't bring it out because it's been 2 weeks. I forgot what I did. I'll find out what color I'm using for that because I did write it down. Actually, it's probably on my paper. Yes, it was originally 3705, and I changed it to 3883. So in case you're working on this, that's what I did. And I think it looks better, and it made me not want to hate this piece and throw it away. Because I think it will look pretty cute, and I think I even have a frame for it already that I found at one point. Because this will be like a 3-inch frame, maybe. So anyways, there's that one. Still would like to get a lot more done on it, but I satisfied my goal of working on it a little bit more this year. I have a list of goals in the back of my planner that I want to get done this year, and a lot of them came about from Arbitrary August when I was pulling things out and realized I could get a column finish on this, you know. So there's not that much of the year left though, and so I think I wrote down too many goals. Because a lot of these are finished columns, finished pages. I hope I have another one I can mark off. I will show you this in a minute. Ta-da! But it's kind of a working, something to work towards. So if I don't know what to work on, I'll look at this list and see if anything on this list is calling to me, and I'll plug that in. And then if anything doesn't get on this list, it'll be added to my 2020 goals. When I hope to have like a goal on most things to know what to work towards on most of my projects. Potentially everything I have will get worked on next year, so we'll see. So the next thing I pulled out was Blackbird Flower and Butterflies by Leslie Tier. And I chose this because I knew I would be going on vacation and I wanted something self-contained. I had all the threads pulled already. I added black, but I ended up running out of black while I was there, so I need to refill my bobbin. I didn't have a whole lot left on it. So, because I knew I wanted something to take with me to work on in the hotel on occasion. And so I did get a few opportunities, so this is what that looked like last time. And here it is now. Super happy with how this turned out, and it was really fun to work on. I think this is the petal I had done before, and so I finished this petal and most of this petal. I think this petal is mostly done, except for like the edges that are touching the other petals, and a few more colors put in there. So I think this is turning out really nice. This is on the 28 count Hobby Lobby brand even weave that's light blue, and I'm doing it 2 over 2 full crosses. So these are 2 over 2 stitches, and then single strand for the main black work, and these outlines are 3 strands. So that's coming along really nicely. It's kind of a fun change from my normal stuff. And I'm using pretty much all Victorian Motto sampler threads on this one, and they're similar color shades to the ones called for, but it was fun to just pick some things out of my stash that I had, and so that's what I did. So I worked on that for a few days while we were gone, because we were gone for 4 days, so I worked on that for 4 days, and then came back, and my next plan was to work on Knitting Woman by Golden Kite. This is my piece I'm making for my mom, and she knows I'm making it, and she knows it'll take me forever to finish it, so it's not like a huge priority, but I am going to try to put at least 2 days on it every month. I scheduled 2 days for it this month, but I really only got 1. I think the second day ended up, I wanted to work on it, but I just didn't have any time. So, it's coming along though, and I'm kind of getting into a groove of how I'm stitching it, and I'm excited about that. So, this is what it looked like last time. And here it is now. So I have, there's like a dust particle. floating in the light. I did a lot more of these colors here in her sleeve, and then parked them over here where they come again on the second page of this row. So I'm picking colors as I'm going down the columns so that it will be completed as I go this way. So there's still a couple holes down here that I'll fill in, and then I can work on this strap as well. But I think this is a good method for me to park, work the half stitches throughout the page and then park them in the next page, because I don't want to rethread my needle a lot on this piece because it does go pretty fast with the half stitches, but I was getting bogged down with all of this confetti. Trying to finish strings completely throughout several pages was kind of demotivating. And so this is nice because then I can start to see things finished, and I'm really enjoying that. So that'll come out again next month, and maybe a little bit more in November. It's kind of nice to work on something a little bit more on an actual birthday month. So maybe I'll give this a whole in November. So there's that one. And then I worked on my oldest full coverage whip for the Full Coverage Fanatics Antique, I don't know. I don't remember what the actual SAL is called, but it's basically an oldest whip SAL, but it had to be a full coverage piece. So I realized my oldest full coverage piece was Princess de Broglie from Golden Kite, and the copyright is 2005, and I'm pretty sure I started it not that long after I got the PDF. So that's how old this is, about 14 years. The other one I thought might be older was had a part of the sky open, and after I calculated the total stitch count, which was hard to do because it was an oval, that Chaplin's Garden one by Marty Bell, I think. The sky, the gaps from the sky that were not stitched made it 91% full coverage, which on the Full Coverage Fanatics website, you need a full coverage is defined as 95% or more stitched. So that one didn't quite make the cut. So it's not technically a full coverage, therefore it's not my oldest full coverage. So this one is, and here's what it looked like during my wrap-up last time from Arbitrary August. And it was nice that I got to it. And this is actually the needle minder that I got from Colette, a little S. It looks a little bit like a Scrabble tile. And I put it on this piece because this feels like a birthday piece to me, because I bought it on my birthday because it was being discontinued on my birthday, and I knew that I needed it at that point. And so I pulled this out every once in a while near my birthday, and so I figured an S because she saw it. She thought of me because my name is Sarah. And so I thought, you know what? That belongs on this piece. So, oops, my needle fell off. I didn't actually get to this yesterday at all. I was kind of tired yesterday and didn't feel like stitching. So I did not get as much on this as I was hoping to. I still need to update my picture on Facebook. So, but it is what it is. I got a little bit done, very little bit, for working on it for 3 days. Let's see, how do I show this because my needle's still up there. This is where the corner is now. And I filled in several stitches throughout here. One color came all the way down, and then this next, I was filling in this color, which will be a lot of this too. So I could maybe give this one more day to maybe try to finish more of it, but I don't think I'll be able to finish that diagonal in a day, so it is what it is. Here's all of her. I didn't work on her at all, just the corner. I was debating, well, maybe I should go back and do my background in columns, because I do like working in columns, like straight vertical columns. But I do like the idea of doing this background diagonally, because when I get to her, I want to come at her at an angle. to gradually start covering and stitching around her, because if I do just the top row, it'll hit right here, and I thought it would look really funny to have like the lady with a big bar of black above her head, and not black, but really dark green. And so I thought, you know what, it might be a softer thing to come in diagonally, but it's, I don't know, this background is so massive, and I really can't crop it much. I guess I could crop like half a page, but usually if I crop these full coverage pieces, I crop a whole page because it just makes it easier. But the top row ends like in her hair, so I have to do that top row unless I crop half a page. So I don't know, there's just a lot of background. So even coming at this diagonally, it's going to take me a while before I get to her. And I don't want to do any more on her because of how I stitch in hand and hold my fabric. I don't want to touch her too much. I want to get the top done before I move on. So this is what I want to do though. I want to do her dress. So I'm kind of disappointed that I was not feeling this as much as I should have, but it is what it is. And I worked on it a little bit, and I think I can cross that off for this year. And maybe next year I'll have as my goal to finish that diagonal, and maybe even make a goal to finish another diagonal, you know, just to kind of, another new diagonal, just to keep plugging away at it and keep motivating, because I do want to get to her. And she won't look right without the background, so I can't crop the background out. I need the background, so it is what it is. I know a lot of you who work full coverage know how that's like when you have a boring background, that you just kind of have to slog through. And I was hoping to maybe go back and forth with it, do some of her and some of the background, but I don't want to, like I said, I don't want to mess her up by doing too much of her before the background's done, and then be touching her a lot while I'm holding the fabric, doing what's around her and above her. So I don't know. It's a complicated mess, but it is what it is. So those are all the main things I worked on since I've seen you last. So I can also talk about the other things I've been working on. So I've got my temperature pieces, which are still behind. I had been caught up on my balloons, and I got behind on that one as well while we were on vacation, and I haven't caught up yet. There's been several days where I wouldn't work on them at all. It's nice when we watch a show together as a family or something, because then I can pull it out and work on it, but that doesn't happen every day. So, and then if I'm busy and tired, I'd rather just work on my main project that day. So it is what it is. There's a part of me that wants to maybe make these travel pieces until I get them caught up, and then go back to the travel piece I'm working on right now, but we'll see. I do want to get these cut up. But this is my balloons. I'll go ahead and do this one first this time, because it was right on top. This is what it looked like last time, and here it is now. So since you've seen it, I finished this basket. There's a cloud overlaying it, but all the basket stitching is finished, and then started in on the top of this balloon for September. So I'm not cut up, but I am started on the September section. This is 28 count light blue MCG textiles even weave in 1/1 full cross. Really cute. I like my little stitches of 28 count. And here's my quilt, the mock-up for the temperature quilt. And this is what that looked like last time. And here it is now. I don't remember how far I got last time. All of the highs in August are finished, which I may have already done. I filled in a little bit more of the lows, got a little bit of September done, which I don't know if I did yet. And tiny bit of the sashing. Got the sashing all the way down. I don't remember where it was last time. But this is on the same fabric, 1/1, just like the other one. I used the same cut of fabric for both of these. If you were doing them on 2/2, you would probably need the whole piece, but I was able to get both of these designs on one piece of fabric from the craft store, because I'm doing them tiny. So definitely not cut up with that, because September is already like halfway over by now, but you know, it is what it is. So yeah, we'll see what I do with these. If I just keep plugging away during the main part of my life, or if I try to make some of these travel stitching, at least until I get them caught up. I'm not sure yet, so we'll have to wait and see on that. Speaking of travel stitching, I have a finish. I was not expecting to finish it this soon, but I started to get close, and on Friday I finished my Furry Animals, and it had a bath this morning, and I'm currently blocking it. It's still damp, so I brought it to show you on here. So I have, blocking it on a sewing board to cut fabric, because it's got the lines that you can see through, and it wasn't too bad, but since it was stitched in a half stitch, it was a little bit wonky. But it's all finished. And it is 28 count, 2/1 half stitches. This is Monaco, white Monaco, like a scrap piece that I had. And I think it turned out really cute. This was the most annoying part, right up here, because these were all colors that had been used at some point over here before I was color completing, and so I had to start and stop like 500 colors, not literally, right in that corner, right at the end when I was ready to be done. I'm just like, onesies and twosies, this is killing me. So bunches of ninja stitches, and that squirrel is looking very dark right now, but I'm not really sure how to fix that. So I thought that turned out really cute, and I bought a frame for it. This one at Hobby Lobby. It's got these cute little swirls. It's like a brownish gray, and it's kind of worn off a little bit on the edges. But it's a 3.5 by 5. I thought that would look really cute together, and keep it looking cute and petite and small. So that's what I chose to do with that, and so I'll be finishing that up here shortly. And I'm really excited. So that's something that I could mark off on my list, that I finished Furry Animals, because that was a goal for this year. My other travel piece is Tea and Cakes Sal by Lakeside Needlecraft. And I'm super tempted to just to either gift my start to somebody else. It's a free pattern online, so that's not an issue, but because I'm not really feeling it. There's a lot of other things I'd rather work on, like getting caught up on my temperature pieces, doing the ink circles tapestry in the car instead of this. But when I started working on this again on Sunday, I thought, well, it is kind of a fun challenge to fix the stitching, to make it fit the back stitching, like I mentioned last time I worked on this. Because a lot of the back stitching is really, really amorphous, and only full crosses are used in the pattern, but I wanted to make it a little bit more dainty and perfectly filled in back stitching with fractional stitches. So this is where I'm at now, and I got to start on the stripy background of the cupcake one there in the middle. And it's a fun challenge, so I'll give it a week, I think, in the car and see how fast it really goes with my current valet situation. Because I worked on this part, it was still the summertime, and I was doing it during ice skating lessons and only once or twice a week, and it for the time that I had to work on it, I think it went pretty fast. So if I can bust this out quicker than I am mentally thinking it will, like, it feels like it's going to take forever to finish. But if I can bust it out fairly quickly, with my current waiting in the car situation with school pickup, then I'll just go ahead and do it. And I might turn it into like the front of a tote bag or something for my daughter to play with. That's kind of the idea for this, I think. So we'll see. I'll give it a week in the valet line pickups and see how it goes. And if I'm not feeling it at that point, if it feels like it's going too slow, then maybe I'll move on. But I'll see how it goes. So that's where I'm at on that one for now. And that's all my regular, that's all that I have been working on that I can show you. So going forward, this coming week, I only have one thing slotted in to be worked on, and that's my quick stitch iris. I have decided, which I mentioned previously, I think in my last video, that I was losing steam on this and when I was trying to do it only on the weekends. And so I decided instead of doing every weekend on this, I'll do one big chunk every month. And so for this month, I am giving it 7 days exactly. Some months might have a few more depending on what else I'm working on, but I'm giving it a full week, which includes a weekend. But I'll work on this until I start working on my son's piece, The Dragon Ride by Teresa Winsler, which will be next week. So this week, starting today all the way through Sunday, I'm going to work on quick stitch iris and see how far I get. And I will be counting my stitches for the 1,200 a month challenge, because next year there's, in Full Coverage Fanatics, they have a challenge for 20,000 stitches in 2020, which equates to, I believe, 1,667 stitches every month, which is slightly more than the 1,200 stitch challenge is. But if I have that 20,000 in 2020 goal for this piece, I could get really far. I don't know how many stitches are left to know if that would actually finish it, but let's do a quick. Yeah, I don't have it. But anyways, that's kind of my goal. If for some reason I finish it, they have a rule in there that if you finish the piece you're working on, you can sub in another one to continue on with the challenge. So I'll just pick my next, whatever I'm feeling at the moment that I want to focus on, be that Knitting Woman or Grapes is another one that I really want to get done from Golden Kite that I saw in my Arbitrary August recap last week or 2 weeks ago. One of those might go in if I finish this one, because I will work on it some more this year with a week or week and a half every month. So depending on how much I can get done this year, 20,000 might finish it. So I'll have to calculate it out and see, you know, the likelihood of that, but it kind of depends on how much I get done this year as well. So this one will get 7 days in September. So this is where it's at right now. I haven't worked on this for a little bit. I'm really close to the end of a diagonal. And this is 25 count 1/1 full cross. And I'm down here, almost done with the diagonal, and then I'll start in on the next one. And I have three different flowers started here. So that's really fun. I do enjoy working on this one, and I'm hoping that by putting it in one big chunk will be more enjoyable than 2 or 3 day chunks, because part of the problem is picking it up and starting to work on it and getting your mojo, you know, on that piece. Especially with the full coverage, you start to recognize the symbols, and getting it out again every weekend is kind of like, oh yeah, got to do that, you know. So if I get it out, it's already out. I'm already mentally in the mood or in the zone, you know, for that one. I think it'll be easier to just kind of keep going on it. So we shall see how much I can do on that in the month of September for this week. So just to quickly run through, I won't show them right now, but for the rest of the month, next week I'm going to do Dragon Ride for 3 days for my son, and then the H Fairy for 2 days for my niece, and those are slightly longer rotations than I would normally give them because they're September birthdays. And then Terry Lee Crafts has a birthday sale starting this Saturday, which is a fancy lady sale. And I know she has a recent video up. I have not watched it, so I'm not 100% sure she's still doing this, but last I heard she was going to have a birthday sale, fancy lady sale from September 21st through October 3rd. So if I'm wrong, I can adjust that later. But I didn't necessarily want to work on my fancy ladies that whole time because I had other things I wanted to do, including those 2 family pieces. So I'm going to continue to work on Quick Stitch Iris through the start of that sale and work on my family pieces next week. And then on the 28th, which is next Saturday, I'll start working on Villa Mirabilia, which I want to get that pot thing done this year. That's kind of my goal for my fancy ladies this year. And I'll work on that from September 28th all the way through October 3rd. So that'll get 6 days, which is a nice big chunk on that one too. Similar to a full coverage, you know, I want to kind of get into the zone and move forward with it, and hopefully that'll help me make some good progress on that one too. So I'll work on Villa Mirabilia, and I guess the letter H Fairy by Nora Corbett would count as a fancy lady too. So I'll participate in that for about 8 days to go along with Terry's birthday. So that'll be fun. So I think that's everything I have to share with you this week. A little bit more than usual because it's been 2 weeks. So hopefully, Lord willing, I should be able to come back next week, and then I'll show you where Dragon Ride and the H Fairy and Villa Mirabilia are and their starting points, because that will be all starting next week. So in the meantime, I'll work on my iris and see how far I get. And I hope you have a wonderful week of stitching, and I'll talk to you later. Happy stitching. Bye.